Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira vanachari. Yamunatira vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Paripuracharya Astotara Shishima. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimadi Tamal Krishna Goswaminiti Namane. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Praishu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikir. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Samamvanam, Chapter 60. Krishna teases Rukmini, verses 36 and 37. Yeah? Yeah. All right, so it's both verses. Incidentally, that's so. His Holiness Hanmar Prasaka Swami has recused himself from giving class today because he's very busy. He has 2 other programs to do, so he has kindly asked me to sit in his stead. Yeah. So I'll chant 36 and the purport, and then we will, in unison, we can chant 37. Right? Was it your birthday? Oh, okay. Happy birthday. Tvatpada Padma Makaranda Jushamuninam Vatmashputam Nirpashubhina Nudu Vibhavyam Yasmaralokikamivehitam Ishvarasya Bhumam Savehitamato Anuye Bhavantam. This is text 36, translation. Your movements, inscrutable even for sages who relish the honey of your lotus feet, are certainly incomprehensible for human beings who behave like animals. And just as your activities are transcendental, O all-powerful Lord, so too are those of your followers. Purport. Here, Queen Rukmini replies to Lord Krishna's statement in text 13. Apastavatmanam pumsham aloka padam iyusham astitha padavim subru praya siddhanti yoshitaha. A fine-browed lady, means the eyebrows. So I wonder what fine-browed means. Was it thick, bushy ones, or thin and nice, or smooth? So in any case, oh fine-browed lady, women are usually destined to suffer when they stay with men. Right? Whose behavior is uncertain and who pursue a path not approved by society. So they suffer if the man is not qualified. Basically, that's what it is. Yeah. In the present verse, Rukmini is taking the term alokapatam to mean unworldly path. Those who are entangled in worldly behavior are trying to enjoy this world more or less like animals. Even if such people are culturally advanced, they should simply be considered sophisticated or polished animals. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Veda Radha. Yeah. They know something about the Vedas, they try to follow that principles, but not for the purpose behind the goal of a human life, like that. Veda Vadarata. Yeah. Srimati Rukmini Devi points out that because the Lord's activities are always transcendental, they are aspashta or unclear to ordinary people. And even the sages trying to know the Lord cannot perfectly understand these activities. Right? In the Vyasadeva, in the very beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, right? What does he say? That even the sages and the demigods cannot understand the Supreme Lord. Great sages. So it's not possible to understand that. So it is not surprising to hear Rukmini mentioning this. So anyway, we'll go to text 37. Niskinchana Nanu Bhavan Na Yatha Asti Kinchit Yasmai Balim Bali Bujaha Api Aranti Ajadaya Na Tva Vidanti Asutripaha Antakam Adyata Andaha Prishtaha Bhavan Balibhujam Api Te Api Tubhyam Niskinchana nanubhavana yatosti kinchit. Niskinchana nanubhavana yatosti kinchit. Yasmai balim bali bhujo biharanta jadya. Yasmai balim bali bhujo biharantya jadya. Natva vidanti asutripantakam madhyantada. Natva vidanti asutripantakam adhyatandaha. Presto bhavam bali bhujam apite pitubhyam. Presto bhavam bali bhujam apite pitubhyam. Bless you. Niskinchano nanubhavana yatasti kinchit. Yasmai balim bali bhujo biharantya jadya. Natva vidanti asutripantakam adhyantanda. Presto bhavan bali bhujam apite pitubhyam. Niskinchano nanubhavana yatosti kinchit. Yasmai balim bali bhujo biharantya jadya. Natva vidantya sutripuntakam adhyatandaha. Presto bhavam bali bhujam apite pitubhyam. Presto bhavan bali bhujam apite pitubhyam. Natva vidanti asutripantakam adhyatandaha. Presto bhavam bali bhujam apite pitubhyam. Ladies. Niskinchano nanubhavana yatasti kinchit. Yasmai balim bali bhujo biharantya jadya. Natva vidanti asutripontakam adhyatandaha. Presto bhavam bali bhujam apite pitubhyam. Niskinchana, without possessions. Nanu, indeed. Bhavan, you. Na, not. Yataha, beyond whom. Asti, there is. Kinchit, anything. Yasmai, to whom. Balim, tribute. Bali, of tribute. Bhujaha, the enjoyers. Api, even. Haranti, carry. Aja adyaha, headed by Brahma. Na, not. Tva, you. Vidanti, no. Asutripaha, person satisfied in the body. Antakam, as death. Adyata, by their status of wealth. Andaha, blinded. Prastaha, the most dear. Bhavan, you. Balibhujam, for the great enjoyers of tribute. Api, even. Te, they. Api, also. Tubhyam, are dear to you. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, and purport here. Translation: you possess nothing because there is nothing beyond you. Even the great enjoyers of tribute, Brahma and other demigods, pay tribute to you. Those who are blinded by their wealth and absorbed in gratifying their senses do not recognize you in the form of death. But to the gods, the enjoyers of tribute, you are the most dear as they are to you. Please repeat, you possess nothing because there is nothing beyond you. Even the great enjoyers of tribute, Brahma and other demigods, pay tribute to you. Those who are blinded by their wealth and absorbed in gratifying their senses do not recognize you in the form of death. But to the gods, the enjoyers of tribute, you are the most dear as they are to you. Purport. Here, Srimati Rukmini replies to Lord Krishna's statement in text 14. Niskinchana vayam sasvan niskinchana jana priya tasma prayena nahi adya mam vajanti sumadhyame. We have no material possessions and we are dear to those who similarly have nothing. Therefore, O slender one, the wealthy hardly ever worship me. Queen Rukmini begins her statement by saying, Niskinchano nanu. You are indeed niskinchana. The word kinchana means something, and the prefix nir, or as it appears here, nish, indicates negation. Thus, in the ordinary sense, niskinchana means one who does not have something, or in other words, one who has nothing. Or you can say one who has no material things, but it doesn't work. Krishna has everything. He has both matter and spirit. But in the present verse, Queen Rukmini states that Lord Krishna possesses nothing. Not because he is a pauper, but because he himself is everything. In other words, since Krishna is the absolute truth, all that exists is within him. There is no second thing, something outside the Lord's existence for him to possess. So that's the understanding. Not something apart from him, because everything belongs to him. Therefore, there's no such thing as belonging to him, because it is him in a sense. Achincha, abheda, bheda, tattva. For example, a man may possess a house or a car or a child or money, but these things do not become the man. They exist outside of him. We say he possesses them merely in the sense that he has control over them to some extent. But the Lord does not merely control his creation actually exists within him. Thus, there is nothing outside of him that he can possess in the way that we possess external objects. Right? When someone takes something away from us, we feel that particular thing missing from us. But that's not the case with Krishna, because everything is part and parcel of him. So he never feels that he doesn't possess anything. Or in a sense, that he never feels apart from any existing living entity. Because everything exists with him. So therefore, he doesn't have that sense of possession or possessiveness that we do. Right? If you wake up in the morning and you find that your car has been stolen, immediately you feel, my car, my life, my existence, it's all gone. But that's not the case with Krishna. The Acharyas explain Iskcon in the following way. To state that a person possesses something implies that he does not possess everything. That's very nice. If you say you possess something, which means that so many other things you don't have. So that's what the point here is. In other words, if we say that a man owns some property, we imply that he does not own all property, but rather some specific property. A standard American dictionary defines the word some as a certain indefinite or unspecified number, quantity, etc., as distinguished from the rest. The Sanskrit word kinchana conveys the sense of a partial amount of the total. Thus, Lord Krishna is called niskinchana to refute the idea that he possesses merely a certain amount of beauty, fame, wealth, intelligence, and other opulences. Rather, he possesses infinite beauty, infinite intelligence, infinite wealth, and so on. This is so because he is the absolute truth. So when we talk about absolute truth, there is no delimiting extremes. It's you can't actually. It's like having two mirrors facing each other and you try to look at the end of it. It's not possible. Infinite. So everything is infinite. Srila Prabhupada begins his introduction to the first canto, volume 1 of the Srimad Bhagavatam with the following statement, which is quite relevant to our present discussion. The conception of God and the conception of the absolute truth are not on the same level. The Srimad Bhagavatam hits on the target of the absolute truth. The conception of God indicates the controller. Whereas the conception of the absolute truth indicates the summum bonum, or the ultimate source of all energies. So Prabhupada also says, Ishvara Parama Krishna. The word Ishvara means many controllers. So God here is defined as, the conception of God is defined as a controller. So, but actually there is so many controllers, small gods everywhere. From the highest planetary system all the way to your backyard, there's someone trying to control something. Right? The homeowner is trying to control his home, and then he puts all the padlocks, the fences around him, and then within his home he has a dog, and the dog is thinking, I'm controlling everything within my scope, and when I bark they feed me. When I bark, they take me for a walk. So everyone has a concept of what they are thinking is being controlled, like that. But the absolute truth is not on that level. It's his ultimate, everything. He is by default, it's happening by his will and desire. Samam Bonam. He is the source of all energies. Here Srila Prabhupada touches upon a fundamental philosophical point. God is commonly defined as the Supreme Being, and the dictionary defines Supreme as highest in rank, power, authority, etc. Highest in quality, achievement, performances, etc. Highest in degree, and finally, final or ultimate. None of these definitions adequately indicates absolute existence. For example, we may say that a particular American is supremely wealthy in the sense that he is wealthier than any other American, or we may speak of the Supreme Court as the highest court in the land, although it certainly does not have absolute authority in all political and social matters. And we see that. The Supreme Court can't pass so many rules. Since it shares authority in these fields with the legislature and the president. So they have to work it out. In other words, the word supreme indicates the best in hierarchy. There's no equal or no some other forces that can supersede this authority like that. So that's the difference between the supreme or the summum bonum or the absolute truth and someone who says, I am a supreme person or supremely wealthy. And thus the Supreme Being may merely be understood as the best or greatest of all beings, but not as the very source of all other beings and indeed of everything that exists. Thus Srila Prabhupada specifically points out that the concept of the Absolute Truth, Krishna, is higher than the concept of a Supreme Being. And this point is essential to a clear understanding of Vaishnava philosophy. So we have a lot of problems when people think of a Supreme Being. Generally, when you describe God and you say, God exists, He lives, and they will say, who created God? Right? Oftentimes they ask, because they see Him as a Supreme Being. They don't see Him as an absolute truth. There's nothing beyond that. They cannot conceive of those things. Therefore, it's important to bring the understanding of what absolute truth is and what Supreme Being means. When you outline that principle very clearly at the outset, then the discussion to make a person understand the existence of the personality of Godhead goes in a different direction. But if that concept is not nicely or properly understood, then it will be a give and take discussion or an argument, to and fro like that. So therefore, even for us practicing devotees, we have to understand this concept properly. What does it mean by His Supreme Person or Supreme Being? Actually, we are talking about the absolute person. Nothing beyond Him, nothing, you can't actually, He's incomprehensible actually. Yeah. Lord Krishna is not merely a Supreme Being, He is the absolute being. And that is exactly the point His wife is making. Thus the word Niskinchana indicates not that Krishna possesses no opulence, but rather all opulences. In that sense, she accepts his definition of himself as Niskinchana. In text 14, Lord Krishna also stated, Niskinchana Jana Priya, I am dear to those who have nothing. Here, however, Queen Rukmini points out that the demigods, the wealthiest souls in the universe, regularly make offerings to the Supreme Lord. We may assume that the demigods, being the Lord's appointed representatives, know that everything belongs to Him in the sense that everything is part of Him, as explained above. Therefore, the statement Niskinchana Jana Priya is correct in the sense that since nothing exists except the Lord and His potencies, no matter how wealthy the Lord's worshippers appear to be, they are in fact offering Him nothing but His own energy as a loving act. The same idea is exemplified when one worships the Ganges river by offering Ganges water, or when a child gets money from his father on the father's birthday and buys him a gift. The father is paying for his own present, but what he is really interested in is his child's love. Similarly, the Supreme Lord manifests the cosmos, and then the conditioned souls collect various items of the Lord's creation. Pious souls offer some of the best items from their collection back to the Lord as a sacrifice, and thus purify themselves. Since the whole cosmos and everything in it is simply the Lord's energy, we may say that those who worship the Lord possess nothing. Very good point. So impious souls, they won't offer anything. Or if they are slightly impious, they'll offer something but not the best that they have. Like that. In more conventional terms, people who are proud of their great wealth do not bow down to God. Let me read that again. In more conventional terms, people who are proud of their great wealth do not bow down to God. So you find that, no? They're very proud of their wealth. They think they can control everything with money. So therefore, people equate money with being like God, or almost God, God-like. You find that very often times, particularly in India. You can see that a wealthy person will come to the temple and they will honor that person more than the Supreme Lord on the altar himself. The corruption of the understanding of the position of the Lord to a common man. Queen Rukmini also mentions these fools, satisfied with their temporary bodies, they do not understand the divine power of death which stalks them. It would be interesting, right, if we are all have a stalker whose death personified, behind us. How would we feel, How we will all go crazy, We will not even be able to focus on our own existence. If we are always looking over our shoulders and you see, what is that? Death with that angel of death or whatever. They have that hook, right? Walking behind you. The Grim Reaper. The demigods, however, who are by far the wealthiest living beings, in comparison to all living entities, the demigods are within this material world are superior and far more wealthier than the living entities and in other places, regularly offer sacrifice to the Supreme Lord. And thus the Lord is most dear to them, as stated here. Om Ajnanatamrandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Samiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Nama Mukam Garadivachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yakripatam Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramanandamadam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sodito Gododaya Pushpavanto Chitra Santo Tamo Nudo. So this whole chapter, even the chapter title is also kind of interesting. Krishna teases Rukmini, and here we are talking about the absolute truth. It's kind of so incompatible for someone to actually appreciate that even the Supreme Lord behaves in a fashion that we can relate to, right? Husband and wife fighting, right? Correct or not? So I'm sure all husbands and all wives fight. If you say you don't, then something wrong. Because here you can see Krishna even fights with Rukmini. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. Shri Radha Giridhari Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Shintai Chaitanya Chandra Shri Shintai Gaura Chandra Ki Jai. Iskcon Guru Vrinda Ki Jai. And in a sense, actually, when you read this whole chapter with the purports and so on, it's so much philosophy that we sometimes get lost in actually appreciating what's happening between Krishna and the residents of Dwaraka. In this sense, Krishna and his wives. So we get a picture of how Krishna is dealing with his the foremost queen in Dwaraka, Rukmini. Now, to actually feel and experience, you must be at a certain level of purified status. Otherwise, these things don't really appeal to the a philosophically minded person. So Rupa Goswami, our Acharya, understanding this, has written 2 plays to describe this situation, and it's called Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava. Lalita Madhava refers to the pastimes in Vrindavan, and Vidagdha Madhava is Vrindavan, yes, and Lalita Madhava is Dwaraka and Mathura pastimes. And in both cases, it shows Krishna's feeling of separation from his dear devotees. It highlights the moods, the sentiments, the bhava that we don't, frankly, we cannot understand at this level in our. So what he did, Rupa Goswami, is he wrote this play, and in the play he allows us to actually understand how these emotions are exchanged. Otherwise, we don't know, we may relate it on a mundane way or think, well, maybe that's how it is, we speculate. But Rupa Goswami gives the guidance of how to see this thing takes place. Of course, he uses, as I was speaking with Maharaj, he uses the terminologies that were expressly brought about by Bharata Muni in Natya Shastra. Yeah, Bharata Muni, yeah. So he gives, within that Natya Shastra, he gives the understanding of the rasa theory. Rasa, how to actually experience, rasa means the taste. How are we going to actually taste it, through Natya or drama or Natya Shastra, this whole rasa theory is asserted that the way we can see the entertainment it's just a desired effect of the performance, but not the primary goal. The primary goal is to transport each of us, the individual who are actually visualizing as an audience, to another parallel reality. That's what it is. What is that? It is full of wonder, where you experience the essence of our own pure consciousness in relation to the Supreme Being, Supreme Absolute Truth. Like that. And that's reflected from the spiritual aspect. So that's what Rupa Goswami tries to do. Simply reading this, you will think, oh yeah, I also fight with my wife, so what's a big deal, I mean, seriously, that's what you will come to, a conclusion like that. And in this is part of the reason why our acharyas give long purports. Because you will read the translation and think, yeah, I did that with my wife the other day. And in the purpose, the acharyas will just smash us, smash our ego, smash our false understanding, awaken the true feelings, so that we can appreciate what the discussion is, how it entails, how properly we can actually understand it. In wanting to read Bhagavatam, first of all, this is Amala Purana, this is Mahapurana, this is the highest of all Purana. You don't need to read any other Purana actually. Right? The 10 topics which are dispersed in all the other Puranas are all found in the Bhagavad Purana. So therefore, you don't need other Puranas. Of course, we use it to substantiate some points, to, Aradhanam Param Vishnu Aradhanam, right? So to prove that, yes, even Lord Shiva is telling Parvati that the highest worship is Vishnu worship. But then, of course, Tadyanam Samarchanam. He says anything which is connected to Krishna is superior. Why? Because Parvati is worshipping who? Who does Parvati worship? Her husband. So she's thinking, but Vaishnavam Yatha Sambhu. The highest Vaishnava is my dear Lord, my husband, and I only worship him. So are you saying that's not important? So Lord Shiva smiles at her and says, Tadyanam Samarchanam. That higher than the worship of Vishnu is worshipping the Vaishnavas. So that those contexts, how that is properly understood, is what the Acharya wants us to understand through the purports. Not so much as I know the pastime, which is good. You need to know Krishna Katha. You need to know, but in the proper context. Otherwise, you can just read and give, like I was talking to Maharaj, you can give nice TED talks, right? TED talks, like people go there and they give 3 minutes, 5 minutes, great, sounds so great. But if I were not able to communicate the essence of what this verse is, or the reason behind the Acharya's meanings, then it's useless, actually. It's useless. So we have to be very careful how we read and understand this thing. And Bharata Muni, in his Natya Shastras, he explains the bliss, the ecstasy, the prema is actually intrinsic in all living entity. It's intrinsic and innate. That means it's always part and parcel of our nature. Right? This love of Godhead is already there. You only have to fan the spark. Fan the spark. And the way you fan the spark is through a very simple process called Bhakti Yoga Sadhana Bhakti. It's actually a simple process. And that automatically awakens or lights the fire of Krishna consciousness. And rasa, according to him, is prepared through, within this play, you have determinants. What determines this situation? And then there are consequences, what will happen? So these are called vibhava, anubhava, and then vyabhichari bhava. That means the in-between states, what one goes through, and so on. And in doing through drama, through Natya Shastra, the individual observing it, he can therefore relish the sentiments, of which there are 8 sentiments: erotic, comical, pathetic, feeling pathetic, terrible, feeling terrible, furious, odious means aversion, and heroic and marvelous. So the sentiments are aroused from the audience who is watching it, and in being able to communicate this information to the audience, he therefore feels this rasa, so to speak, to some extent, and appreciate it. So therefore, when you go and watch a movie sometimes and so on, you sometimes get emotionally involved. You say, oh no, don't do that, don't jump off. But actually it's an actor doing it. No, don't kill. Oh, I hate this woman. Kill her. Look at this mother-in-law. Smash her head. Oh, this stupid person. Oh, this is so wonderful, this person. Like that. So these emotions are drawn out through drama, and that's the way we have to appreciate this rasa in these pastimes of Krishna and his dear devotees. It's not possible simply to just go through the book knowledge. Book knowledge is essential, but we still have to do it with devotees. Therefore, you find within our society, we encourage a lot of dramas. It must be there, otherwise you cannot advance in your Krishna consciousness. Like pastime, Janmashtami, there must be dramas. Balaram Purnima, dramas. Chaitanya Leela, dramas. It evokes and it brings about the correct sentiment, or the proper sentiment to come out. Otherwise, on your own, if you're just going to read, your mind can jump and create its own version of what rasa is. And we don't want that. Right? It shows Krishna's intent, It shows Krishna's position, even though he is superlative, supremely, as we went through this definition, absolute being. It makes us see him that even though he's at that level, he also is so loving personality. He has feelings just like you and I. His feelings are refined. Ours are not so refined. And therefore, when we talk about the Supreme Person, everything about him is fine. His beauty is so superlative, so fine. When the description states how beautiful he is, we can't even understand that. When Rukmini says, she says, right, when she writes the letter, Srutva gunan bhuvana sundaram shrinmatam te. So beautiful, she says. This beauty personified, nowhere in these three worlds can you find this beauty. And she's referring to Krishna. It is far out. So when you can understand at that level, and then you appreciate, wow, look at that, Krishna is so beautiful. Not think, oh, beautiful means some Miss Universe or Miss World or Mr. Universe, something like, not like that. We don't relate. We just go into an awe, an appreciation and wonderment. Oh, wow, Krishna is so beautiful. And then we can appreciate, he is so merciful, like Mahaprabhu, like Srila Prabhupada. So within the purport, anyone who is connected with the Supreme also gets similar qualities. Right? So therefore, Mahaprabhu is so supremely merciful. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. So freely giving. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada also exemplifies similar sentiments. Supremely he wants to give us that prema, Krishna prema. So we can appreciate that way. And of course, here Rukmini is talking about how people are foolish. They can't even understand that there is such a thing as a supreme being, or even an absolute being. They cannot understand that. Rather, they think, if I have money, if I have wealth, I am safe, I'm okay. And in fact, many cases are there. There was this happened in an Asian country. This person was earmarked to take over the role of the Prime Minister. He was only like 51 years old. But what happened was he had a serious stroke. And then, when you get stroke, you get paralyzed and all kinds of things, dysfunctional. And he was in coma for at least a week or so. So what the government did was, they pumped in so much wealth. They invited all the big doctors, from all over the world, scientists, and they came, and they 24/7 they were working on this person. And then within a couple of weeks, interestingly, he recovers. And then they make him do rigorous physical activities, and now he's walking. And then recently they announced that he will be the next Prime Minister of that country. So people have faith in those kind of things, right? Because they see, well, I spend the money and the results are obvious. And therefore, I don't believe in other things. I didn't have to pray for my person to recover. I spent the money and it worked. So therefore, they think, if I spend enough money, I can live forever. Right? They think like that. They think if I get all the organic food, and then all the juice, everything organic, if I eat everything organic, I'll be going to live a long, long life. But it's not a fact. Maybe you can have less disease by eating organic food, but it doesn't mean you will not die. Mrityu sarva haras chaham, Krishna says. I am all devouring death. Yeah. He doesn't mince words. Krishna doesn't mince. I'm all devouring death. That means you have no chance. You have no chance even to gasp for air. A drowning man can sometimes come up and gasp for air. But here Krishna says, when the time of death, I am just all devouring. You have no choice. You have to die. So it may seem very harsh. Prabhupada says, you are dying every single moment. Which is a fact. From the day you are born, you are dying. So in one sense, happy birthday is actually happy death day. Oh, you're now coming closer to death. And you don't know when, Prabhupada also says, if you died 20 years old, then you are old man at 20. If you die at 70 years old, then you are an old man at 70. So interesting. So he equates death with old age in that context. So Prabhupada says, every moment you're dying, and he says the last stroke is defined as death, the last stroke. And he says that last stroke is Krishna himself. Interesting, huh? Krishna himself, yeah. So even in the Krishna says, Teisham aham samudarta mrityu samsara sagarat. I am the swift deliverer, samsagara, from the ocean of death. I am. So he is both. Mrityu samsara and sagarat also. He also comes to save you. Same person can do two things. Peace. Both he can do that. I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So instead of thinking I have enough opulence, I am safe, I got good medical, gold standard Medicare, dental care. I'm going through dental. I have everything. I've got a house, I got 2.5 children and a Mercedes Benz or something like that, a Toyota, right? We think like that in terms of what statistics is and so on. But we have to be very careful. We are now in the ocean of birth and death. But we have to get out of this. So therefore, Mahaprabhu writes, right? Ai nanda tanuja kinkaram paditam vam vishave vam buddho kripaye padatava pankaja stita duli sadrisham vichintaya. Please pick me up from this ocean of birth and death and place me as one of the dust of atoms in your lotus feet. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. Yeah. So Mahaprabhu makes it very clear. This is how our mood should be, to appreciate and so on. We are eternal servants of Krishna. But somehow or other we have fallen into this ocean of birth and death. So finally, Niskinchana. Niskinchana means nothing to do with material world. No desire to enjoy matter. Prabhupada says, as long as you have some desire to enjoy, you cannot develop love of God. So we are all in that trapping, so to speak. We all try to enjoy material life, here and there. So we have to be very careful about this thing. Kungundi says, Janmaishwarya Sruta Shribir Idamana Madapuman Naivarhiti Abhida Tum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. So one who is materially exhausted, my dear Lord, they can approach you. But one who pursues material qualities like high parentage, education, opulence, and bodily beauty, they cannot approach you, my Lord. right? So we have to think carefully like that, and then we can appreciate what Srimati Rukmani is, in a sense, telling us, those of us who are very fallen. At the same time, she over here is showing you, or showing all of us, how intelligent she is also. That's the other thing that we don't seem to see when we look at this pastime. Her answers are amazing. And at the same time, she glorifies Krishna. At the same time, she shows through her glorification her unfathomable love for Krishna. This is her position. Her rasa with Krishna is different from the different queens. Whereas Satyabhama is more on the left wing. Left wing means they get very feisty, angry, and they want to control the husbands to some extent. Whereas she is right wing, which means she is more docile. So in the Dwaraka mood of the queens are less in terms of being freely showing emotions to Krishna than in Vrindavan Leela, where the gopis don't care about Krishna. Oh, get lost, you rascal, they'll tell him like that, you know. And they'll chase him sometime, they tie him up, stuff like that. Whereas in Dwaraka, it's all in, there is a awe and reverence to some extent. Even though it's Madhurya Rasa, there is still that tinge of awe and reverence. Okay? Alright, so I will just stop here. Comments, questions, corrections? Sarva Bhauma Prabhuji.
When we're preaching, Prabhupada says there's the absolute truth and there's this Ishvara. He makes some distinction. It seems like it's confusing, at least to me it's confusing, why the absolute truth is so important to say that phrase. Like Prabhupada uses the term Supreme Personality of Godhead so much more. And a lot of impersonalists seem like if you say the word absolute truth, they say that everything comes from Brahman, impersonal Brahman. So when we're preaching, how important is it to stress the absolute truth?
You have to see, you know, your audience also at the same time. And you have to see where they're coming at. Sometimes they may be just turn. And so for them, if you say God, that is good enough. You know. So someone like a Mayavadi and so on, absolute truth for them means Brahman. So you have to see the context and the personalities you're dealing with, and then based on that you can preach. I wouldn't say every single person you go and say absolute truth is, they may not even know what you mean by absolute truth. You know, so for them they may get a better understanding if you say supreme person. But then there's a problem when you say person.
Like Purushottam, Govindamadi Purusham. So many of our scriptures say that Krishna is the supreme person. So
yes.
Why is that a problem to say that God is a supreme being, a supreme person? Why is there a problem to say that God is a supreme being, supreme person? Govindamadi Purusham.
Well, like I said, no, it's not a problem for most of us who accept the Lord to be a person. The context, when you deliver something to a person or when you're preaching to someone, you have to know where they're coming from first. You have to understand their understanding of what they see as God and so on. And then you can talk about it. I mean, if you look at Bhagavad Gita, it goes through a series of different understanding of God. Right? Until finally the position of I am Krishna, Arjuna, I am the Supreme Lord. Yeah. He shows his form in the 11th chapter as the universal form. Arjuna says, I don't like those forms. Whereas if you go to like forests in Papua New Guinea or wherever, the tribal people, for them the lightning, the thunder, the way the the huge nature is, they say, yes, that is the supreme, that is powerful. Hurricane, typhoons, like that. So context is important, time, place, circumstances, like
that. Since you said that as long as you want to be beautiful, you can't be serving Krishna. Even if our idea is that we want to be like.
No, I didn't say that. I think that's what you are saying. What is your question? Can someone be beautiful and serve Krishna? Sure. There was many years ago, there was, which temple was it? Trying to remember. I think it was in Australia maybe. This girls, very young girls, every Sunday they will come and they will dress very beautifully, opulently, and they will come. And so devotees, some people were questioning their intent, and then they say, we are dressing for Krishna. We're not dressing for you. So you go and do what you want. So they say they want to show Krishna that, we are your servants. We want you to be happy when you look at us. So yeah, you can be beautiful for Krishna. But your understanding must be, I am doing this for Krishna. Yeah, not because, just like when you're a musician, you play mridanga so nicely, right? When Prabhupada wanted to play the mridanga so nicely, he comments that the girls were always looking at him because he was such an expert mridanga player. So similarly, when you are playing mridanga, you're thinking, oh, I'm so good, I am so good. Instead of thinking, is Krishna happy with the way I'm playing my mridanga or my harmonium or my singing, like that? So the mood is very important. If you feel that I'm such a great singer, I should be the one singing for every day Mangala-arati and Guru Puja, then the mood is very selfish. It's very egotistical. That you're thinking that you are the controller of the situation and everyone will be happy if you sing. So therefore there's a flaw in that mindset. Krishna consciousness is, we are doing service for the Lord. We are singing for the Lord, and in terms of the mood of the associates of Krishna is that I'm not the best. So-and-so is better than me. You please sing. So Vaishnava mood is like that. They always push someone else forward and say, no, you sing, I'm okay, like that. So they cultivate this mood of humility. Understanding that whatever qualities I have is bestowed by the Supreme Lord Himself. Not so much as it is sprouting spontaneously from my being. No. We are actually part and parcel of Krishna. So whatever qualities we exhibit is Krishna's potency. If that potency is enhanced superlatively, then you are a Shaktivesh avatar, because the Lord empowers you as such. Okay?
Just wanted to clarify, I think that the original point was if we desire to enjoy materially, we can't love Krishna or something.
Yeah, Prabhupada says that if you want to enjoy materially, then you're thinking about wanting to satisfy your senses. But of course we know we are meant to satisfy Krishna's senses. So he says that we are not akinchana. Srila Prabhupada says that. He says we use everything in the service of Krishna for His pleasure. We don't want to reject anything, what is that verse? Rupa Goswami says. Well, you can use the yarasya haritasya karmana manasagira nikilasvapi avastasu jivan mukta sauchate. So if you use everything in the service of Krishna, you get liberated. But there's another verse, nirbandha Krishna sambandhe So use everything nirbandha, Krishna sambandha. Use everything in the service of Krishna. That's what we are meant to do. We are not supposed to reject things. Of course, Queen Kunti says materially exhausted. That means we only use that for our well-being, right? For example, if you go to an ashram, there's a bed, you use that to sleep. Not that you go to ashram, you see a bed and say, no, we are renunciants, throw the bed out. That's not proper use of Krishna's material things like that. So in that sense, I would say, yeah.
Regarding the example that you said of the devotees somewhere, we also hear that when we try to please Krishna, we try to please Krishna through Guru Parampara, like through understanding how do we please Krishna. Or the other way, like we cannot mentally think, I'm going to please Krishna in this way.
Yeah.
And so it should be following
the Guru Parampara. Yeah, that's true. Just like the altar service and so on, we are not doing it ourselves, we are doing it on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas. That's because we are not qualified to be there, but on their instructions, on their empowerment, we can go on the altar. That's all. Same with preaching also. Same with anything, cooking, whatever you do. It is not that you are doing it. It's the empowerment of Krishna that is manifested in you, that is being displayed at that very moment. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. That's a good point. Yeah. Anything else? Otherwise, thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi. Hare Hare Bol.